Hey everybody, welcome back. Jeff here. Thought we'd get into a little bit different kind of video today, talking about tractor safety. Anyway, I decided to try to keep warm by the fire here in the chimney, and you know I've already repositioned this chair about 3 times, so no matter where I move, the smoke is is going to come your way. You know how that works. My dad always said smoke follows the ugly one, but that ain't looking too good for me, and seeing as I'm the only one sitting out here. But anyway, so what I wanted to talk about, just a few things in general. Some of the built-in things that come on these tractors nowadays, the utility compact style tractors, safety devices, switches, interlocks, all kinds of things like that. And then some add-on kind of safety devices as well, and as well as just common sense practices. Now, I don't claim to be no safety expert by no means, but thought this was just a topic that was worth going over, whether you're a experienced tractor driver for 40 years or whether you're somebody new. It is a piece of machinery that can be dangerous, a lot of moving parts, a lot of weight, heavy things you're moving around. So if you haven't had a situation where you've had a close call, that's great. But if you drive it long enough and keep working with it long enough, you're going to probably have a situation that hopefully doesn't cause you an accident or to get hurt, but you'll probably look back and say, don't think I'm going to try that again. It's just anytime you're dealing with heavy machinery and things like that, it's bound to pop up. But anyway, I got my cheat sheet here, so try not to get on me too hard about that, because I just jotted some things down. There's no way I knew I would remember all the little things I had thought about. But kind of comparing this style tractor, this is a 2021 Coyote CK3510, with, I've got 2 other tractors, a 98 Massey Ferguson and then a 1954 Farmall. I can tell you right now, that 1954 Farmall had absolutely 0 safety devices. It didn't even have the sign on the back, the slow-moving vehicle sign that you would, driving on the road from the factory. It didn't have that. But no safety interlocks with the clutch, with being in neutral to start it. You could actually start it in gear, and if the only thing that would keep it from starting is if you had the little ignition switch in the off position, but it would still, if you got that in the on position, it's going to turn over and start in gear and take right off. So absolutely 0 safety devices on that, but that was just a different time and era. Anyway, so getting on, as Els was saying, things like, accidents can happen. I don't care how safe you try to be. Baggy clothing is one thing that's probably not a good idea. These things have a lot of moving parts on them. Things you can get snagged on with a baggy shirt or baggy pants or whatever. So things like that. You can trip and fall. So it's just you got to be very careful. You got the loader to deal with, all the weight, PTO, heels. There's just a lot to take in consideration, a lot going on at one time. But learn your tractor. Learn what feels comfortable and what might make you say, not sure that's a good idea. If you're on a hill and it doesn't feel right, then it probably isn't right. It's kind of like learning your vehicle. Every vehicle that you have, whether you have a car or a truck, they all have different characteristics in the way they drive and the way they handle. Same thing with tractors. How stable is it? How much weight? Do you have ballast? That kind of things, all things to consider. But just learn it and know what its capabilities are, and don't try to go too much outside those boundaries. So anyway, we're going to talk a little bit about the onboard stuff and what some of the number 1 accidents and things are with tractors, and then we'll take a look at some of the items that are on board. Number 1 accident with tractors is rollovers. If you Google that, it's a common known thing. You're mowing on a hill and maybe it feels okay, but then all of a sudden your tire drops down into a hole that you didn't realize was there, and next thing you know, you got a situation. So of course, the ROPS, it's, back in the day, like I mentioned with that farm mall, there was no such thing as a ROPS. You rolled over, more than likely you're going to get killed or get trapped under it. But now that ROPS is at least a way to try to give you some protection. But just got to be careful on heels. We'll talk a little bit more about that shortly. And then the number 2 thing is entanglement. A lot of moving parts on these things. The PTO shaft, that's a very dangerous. I knew a guy that acquaintance through work that lost an arm, got caught up in the PTO shaft of a tractor and lost an arm. So that's a very dangerous thing. You got all kinds of moving parts back there on the 3-point, on the loader. There's just a lot of things that can grab you, and you probably don't have a chance against it once it gets a hold of you. But anyway, talking about the factory onboard safeties, let me reposition, and we'll take a look at some of them on the tractor. I think probably these are the ones that are on my tractor. I got a feeling that most of these are pretty common nowadays on all the new tractors, regardless of the brand. I'm pretty sure that a lot of these are common. But anyway, we'll reposition and take a look at some of them on board. Okay, starting out here with what I call like some of the start run interlocks, things that aren't going to let your tractor start unless they're in the right position. Number 1 is the gear shifter has to be in a neutral position. Usually the brake's going to need to be in a locked position. Also, in this case, the electronic PTO is going to need to be in the disengaged position. If that's engaged, it won't let it start. And in the case of this tractor, has a seat safety switch. Now, I'll go ahead and confess right from the beginning, I bypassed that. You may try not to beat me up too hard in the comments. I did a separate video on that if you want to watch it, explaining why. I'm not suggesting anyone do that. That's just what I chose to do. So anyway, that's the case on that. But those are just some things that you gotta have to be able to even start the tractor. So of course, another safety onboard safety device comes with a seat belt. The other tractors I have do not have seat belts. Then the ROPS, the rollover protection system that you see on this tractor. Most every tractor nowadays I think comes with that. Of course, you have your flashers that come from the factory that you're going to turn those on anytime you're out on the highway. You've got the slow moving vehicle sign there that comes from the factory. You want to definitely have that where that can be easily seen. You got the PTO safety shield right there. But that's just there for protection of when that PTO is moving, as well as when you've got like your rotary cutter hooked up or whatever, you've got a guard over that PTO shaft that is there for protection in case you were to slip and fall against that thing and it's running. Of course, you shouldn't be back here with the PTO engaged anyway, but that would at least possibly save you from getting entangled or whatever. Okay, if we go around here, we've got the loader safety switch right there, or knob, that if you flip that, it will basically disable the joystick and keep somebody from accidentally bumping that and letting the loader come down. But you still don't want to rely on that as a means of getting under that loader when it's raised up. I'll show you something in a minute. You may have already seen it on some of my other videos, but that's still just disabling that lever doesn't mean a hose can't burst or something like that, and next thing you know, that loader's down on top of you. But those are most of the factory things that I would call factory safeties that come on board. If you can think of something else that I've missed, please leave it in the comments, or that your tractor has that this one doesn't. Let me know. But I guess we'll move on now to some things that I've added on, or some just general things, protective equipment and stuff like that probably most everybody has. Back over here, I got a fire extinguisher. I think you should have that on every tractor, regardless if it's a cab tractor, open station, whatever. It's a cheap way to, you know, you never know when you got some kind of spark or spilled fuel or whatever. That could get you out of a burned up tractor. Is not a pleasant thing. Of course, back here are some things that, you know, just general practice stuff: eye protection, ear protection. I consider a dust mask in an open station world as a safety device, because, you know, just breathing in all that dust and stuff. You know, some of these things you would not need in a cab situation. You know, the colder weather gloves, regular lightweight gloves, but all those things can help you out. And in getting back to you know, as I mentioned before, the not wearing loose and baggy clothing. You know, especially when you're working around this thing, a lot of moving parts and stuff you can snag on. And the other thing I think is important is steel-toed boots or steel-toed shoes of some sort, whether it be steel-toed, composite, whatever. You know, you got a lot of situations where stuff can get dropped on your foot or whatever. I think those are an important thing to have when you're messing around with a tractor. One other thing is this right here, your cell phone. So you might have seen in some of the other videos, I made a little place to carry the cell phone right there where you can see it at all times. But I had one gentleman that pointed out in a video that he preferred to keep it on his body, and he explained why, and I totally understood where he was coming from. And we'll talk about this in a minute, but it's got something to do with the loader itself. But we'll get into that in a second. And let's see, what else did I have on the list here? First aid kit. Got one behind the seat right there. You definitely want to have that, because, you know, when you're out and about doing something, you know, busted knuckles or a cut or whatever, at least maybe you can mend it up till you get back to the house. So anyway, those are, oh, and the loader stops. As I mentioned before, you don't want to rely on that little safety knob. So right inside here, this loader tube, I did another separate video on this as well. It's the loader stop. So if you raise that loader up and you got to get under there, do some work on the battery or the front of the tractor or whatever, you know, with these cylinders extended, you put this over here, you know, let the cylinders rest back down on it. But you got one for each side. Keep them on the tractor at all times, and then you don't have to worry about that loader coming down on you. So that's another safety device that I have added. So that's most everything. Let me know if there's any other safety things you've put on your tractor that help you out in a situation or whatever. But now we'll get back over here by the fire and just talk about some of the common sense things. All right, so just common sense practices that I feel like are important, and as I said before, doesn't matter if you're a brand new tractor owner and have never driven a tractor, or whether you are very experienced. Sometimes I find that, you know, I catch myself getting too comfortable, and that's when things can bite you. But anyway, you know, I think these common sense practices would go for all eras of tractor, whether it's a 1954, a 2021, or 2023, whatever. You know, as a general rule of thumb, you know, obviously when you're getting off the tractor, you want to lock the brake. You know, there again, some that, you know, still have the safety switch on the seat. I don't think it'll let you get off of the tractor without locking the brake, or it will cut off. When you're hooking up to PTO, you want to turn the tractor off. And hooking up to 3-point. Lots of times, you know, in the case of me, like I'm backing up the tractor, my son's back there hooking it up, helping me out or whatever. You want to be very careful there and not, you know, get them pinned in between the tractor and the 3-point. Of course, you know, you want whoever's in the back to be standing to the side, and just very careful there, because, you know, your foot could slip off the, you know, in the case of the hydrostat, if it slips off, you're going to stop. But if it's a clutch-driven tractor, it could slip off, bam, all of a sudden you're rammed into the implement and pinned them. That's why I like these link arms now that have the adjustment where it's a lot easier to hook things up by yourself. So, riders. You know, that's a no-no on a tractor like this, but come on, let's face it. probably all of us have ridden the kid, grandkids, whatever. You know, it's something, you know, it's a joy to them, and it's just a joy to us grandparents and stuff to be able to do it. Only thing I can say about that, get them up there between you where you can get your arm around them, and you know, I know you're not supposed to do it, but everybody does it. But just do it as a fun thing to go out and give them a ride. Don't, you know, try not to ride them too much when you're out actually doing work with the loader and all that, because that's when your mind gets distracted, and you know, anything can happen there. But you know, it's different when you got the bigger tractors with the cab that have the buddy seats that's you know, made for that reason. But it's best not to ride them if at all possible. But anyway, just be safe if you try to do something like that. Getting back to the loader, you know, I talked about those stops. So the situation that I was also talking about is, I had a gentleman, and this was the cell phone that I mentioned, that he said, you know, keep it on your body. And I'll bring you in a little closer here. So let's say you parked your tractor right here and you went in to eat lunch, or you got a phone call and you're away from it for 30, 40 minutes, who knows. You know, those hydraulics will eventually leak down. And so, and maybe you've got this, maybe you were getting ready to unhook these pallet forks and it's sitting up on a pallet or something that's up a little bit higher. So you come here and you know, you get back and say, oh, I'm going to unhook the pallet forks. So you come here and you pull these two levers and you got your foot right here. Well, these arms, it's lost pressure, and when you release it off of that hitch, off the quick attach hitch, those arms can drop all the way down to the ground. And especially, you know, it's not so bad on this one. You're standing here and, you know, you pull it. But if you put your foot and you lean over to do this one, and then those arms drop out of that frame, and lots of times it depends on how it's tilted as to whether they drop out of the frame or just hit the bottom of it. The next thing you know, the loader's on your foot. Hence, steel-toed shoes. But now you got a problem. Loader's on your foot, you're by yourself. And that's what this gentleman had explained. That's what happened to him. And his wife was nearby, not outside, but he had his cell phone in his back pocket. And he was able to call her, and she had to rush out and start the tractor and lift it up so that he could get out. So think about that situation if you, and I've almost done it. It's something I didn't realize at first when it almost happened to me that it was even, you know, wasn't anything I thought about could even happen. But I think in most cases that can happen. So anyway, it's something you definitely want to be careful of. And just imagine if you're by yourself and you know, it's 20 degrees outside and you got, you know, the phone is not on your body and you got no way to call somebody, you may be stuck out there for a while if you can't figure out a way to get your foot out. So something to definitely keep in mind right there that can definitely cause you harm. The other thing with the loader too, if you've got a bucket of dirt or debris or whatever, and you lift that thing way up high for whatever reason, just be careful there, because if you got that bucket tilted back, you can actually dump part of that load back on the hood or on yourself, depending on whether it's debris or whatever, mulch, that kind of thing. If you never want to be driving with it up high, but you can actually hit a bump and part of that load could actually dump back on the hood. I've seen that happen if you've got the bucket curled back and you got it up really high. And that's the other thing, obviously, any kind of load you're carrying, you want to keep it low. That's the biggest thing with the loader. You know, heavy loads or whatever, you make your, you know, very unstable if you're carrying that thing high. I saw a video recently where a guy, he only had his loader maybe halfway up, but he was, and not on all that much of an incline, but wheel dropped down into a hole that he didn't see, a rut. And man, it was almost just like it was in slow motion. It just tilted right over. No harm to him. Fortunately, the ROPS did its job. But I think if he'd had that load down low, that wouldn't have happened. But anyway, moving on. If you're pulling something with a chain or a cable, you obviously want to hook it to the drawbar. You saw that D-ring earlier. That's what I've got that there specifically for. You know, you don't want to pull from the box blade or anything on the 3-point up high. You want to keep that point down as low as possible. You know, I don't advise pulling anything with the hook to the loader. Now, if it's just something that's a little small, lightweight or whatever, and you hook it to maybe you got hooks on your bucket or whatever, that's different. But anything that you're pulling that is of significance, that's heavy, that you're going to have to really pull on hard on, you know, that's what those rings in the front there, hook it to that. Don't hook it to your loader. You'll end up bending something or breaking something. And I also have seen lots of times, especially if you're using a cable or a chain, you don't want to snatch on it. Chances are you're going to break something, but it seems like to me more so with a cable. If that thing were to snap, man, it could give you the whiplash effect, and that cable could come firing at you. So lots of people will throw a blanket, you know, midway over that cable, some kind of heavy, like a moving blanket or something, that at least if it does break, you know, that will absorb a lot of that recoil, and it'll just end up in a ball. And getting to you know, the hill situation, and that, well, we talked about the number one accident, rollovers. Obviously, you know, if you can, you want to be going up and down the hill, you know, if there's any way possible. And in my opinion, I don't have to worry about this on my tractor, but the tractors that have independent brakes, you know, separate brake pedals, you would want to lock those together so if you're going down that hill and you have to apply the brake, you don't want just one wheel locking up. You want to be able to brake with both. That's my opinion on that. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. But on my tractor, is one brake pedal does both wheels. But you know, these tractors don't have a enormous, you know, wide wheelbase. So like I said before, if you're starting to do something on a side hill, ditch embankment or whatever, and it feels like this might not be quite right, probably not. You probably should back out of that situation. You know, I remember back in the day when we were farming, in the winter months, we'd have the tractor in close like this, and the ag tractors, you know, you could flip the wheels around, and then we had spacers that you could put there when we were doing row crop farming, to at least cover the width of 2 rows. And back in those days, small tractors, that's when we would do, you know, stuff on side hills or whatever, when we had the tractor, basically the wheel width was practically doubled almost. But they make wheel spacers for these kind, if you got to do a lot of stuff like that, because you never know when you're going to hit a hole or whatever. And that's the other thing I say is know the terrain. I grew up on this property, and I basically know pretty much where every stump, rock, rut, hole, whatever is. So when I'm out mowing or whatever, I got it in my mind that, oh yeah, I gotta make sure I be careful when I go to that area over there. There's a stump over there, or there's a rut over there. Know your terrain, and you know, you learn it as time. And if you don't know your terrain, you're new to it, and or maybe you're doing something for a neighbor or a buddy down the street, spend a few minutes, drive your tractor over there, get off and walk around, take a look. That 10 minutes you spend looking over it, and it may keep you from rolling over or having an accident that you know, it's not going to turn out to be a good situation. So know the terrain. And last thing I'm going to go over here is the tires. You always want to, you know, keep your tire pressure maintained. I try to check that pressure about every 10 hours or so when I'm greasing the loader and doing, you know, that stuff that's every 10 hours or so. But the other thing is, you know, pretty much everybody now, it's a general rule of thumb, you get ballast in the rear tires. And that was one other thing I forgot to mention earlier, is when you're doing that loader work with heavy stuff, you got to have that ballast. You know, loading the rear tires, and that's not enough. The weight that these small tractors can lift nowadays, you got to have extra ballast. So, you know, get the tires loaded, and then put one of your heavier implements on the back, or a ballast box, whatever. Keep that weight there, because you'll definitely lift the rear tires off the ground if you don't have something. But anyway, let's say you got to take one of your rear tires off, and you know, it's got a small leak or whatever, and you know, you don't want to trailer it, or you just want to take the tire off, haul it down to a tire shop to get it repaired or whatever, and it's still mostly full of liquid. be very careful when you're taking those tires off, because especially if it's a taller tire on some of the bigger tractors, because you got to remember that thing's full of, you know, 2, 3, 4, 5, 600 pounds of liquid. And you know, once you get it off and you start to try to roll it around, that's definitely a two-man job, if not more, because you know, once that liquid starts sloshing around in there, it can easily lose its balance and want to come over on you. And once it starts, it's going to be difficult to stop. I remember when we did that, as I mentioned back in the farming days, when we would, you know, you had to take the tire off the left and put it on the right, and one on the right and put it on the left, and we would always, you know, take it off, two-man job, and carefully roll it around, lean it up against something, take the other one off, move it. But it's something you got to really be careful, and you don't think about. But those tires become very heavy with the liquid in them. And one last thing, I know I already said that before, but fuel spills. So if you're fueling it and you spill it, clean it up. Man, I've seen so many people that, you know, fuel spill. I've seen somebody drive off from fueling the tractor with fuel still dripping from the hood or from the back, wherever. I don't know. Maybe that's more of a pet peeve thing for me, but it just makes sense to me. You got a rag nearby. If you don't, go get one. Clean it up. But anyway, that's pretty much everything I had on my list of things to go over. Hope that didn't bore you too much, but figured at least it's something to talk about. As I say, I don't claim to be the most safe person when it comes to these things, but we all want to enjoy our tractors and, you know, not have a situation where we get hurt and get laid up and then have to sit under a barn for a while. But I hope you enjoyed that, and please leave a comment and let me know, you know, some safety things that you may have added on your tractor or that your tractor has that I didn't mention, or just some common sense rules that you practice that can help somebody out. Anyway, I appreciate everybody joining me. I appreciate all the positive comments you guys have left over you know, the videos I have already done. And you know, leave another comment, hit the subscribe button, and catch you next time.